Okay, what's the first electronic song you remember hearing?
The very first complete electronic song I remember hearing, I think it was probably something, I think from the Prodigy actually. I think it was something like, it was something off Land, but like, I think I heard on MTV back when MTV used to actually play music.
Like the 10 spot or something like that?
Right. And it was, I think it was it was actually a video for Breathe, way back in the day. And where how I was raised, I was really sheltered when it came to music and stuff, so I kind of would sneak and watch MTV every once in a while. I think that's the first one I ever heard.
And what do you remember your reaction being to that?
I thought it was awesome, especially the visuals for that video. And, they had hair drawn out of walls and shit like that. It was just crazy. So, I liked it. I could tell, even back then, I could tell it was completely electronic. There was no really guitars or anything in it, except for some sampled stuff. Mm-hmm. And, but, it wasn't something that I actually planned on going into as far as electronic music for years and years and years after that, so.
At the time you heard, some of that first electronic music and were exposed to it, what was the music that you were listening to and feeling inspired by at the time?
I think back then I was listening to, like, on my own time, sneaking around, I was listening to stuff like old Metallica and also like older rock from like the 70s and the 80s and things like that. When I went into electronic music, I went into it because I noticed that you had free reign of whatever you wanted to do as far as sound-wise. With a metal band, you're kind of boxed into, oh, we have to sound this specific way, otherwise we're not metal or whatever. Mm-hmm. But with industrial, or not even industrial, electronic music, I was listening at the time. I found stuff like Enigma and even some Enya and stuff like that. And I started noticing that in an electronic music project, you can write something really harsh one moment, and the next moment you can write something really melodic and easy listening, and it's okay. It's all under the umbrella of electronic music. So that's why I got into it, is because of the expressive freedom, the freedom you have in doing whatever you want with the sound. But yeah, it also helped me make the decision, as far as to go into it, because I was like, I don't need anybody else other than myself. Mm-hmm. Machines don't have opinions, machines don't have time schedules, and they're finicky, but they're less finicky than people.
Right.
So,
you talked a few minutes ago about seeing some of the visual elements that were involved in that Prodigy video, and even some of the music videos at the time were very specific in trying to have interesting visual qualities. How important to you is the visual? In the grand scheme of things, is it a 50-50 with the visual and sound? Is it, more important for it to be, have its own musical identity and then find the visuals? Where do you find the balance in that?
Well, it's tricky because I think that the visual elements are really important. Whenever if somebody's coming to pay to see my band, I want to put on a show for them, and I want to actually give them their money's worth. I get so damn bored watching a band get up there and whenever they slept in, mm-hmm. and play music. It's good for them, and I've seen a lot of bands that are great bands, but visually they're just boring as hell. Mm-hmm. And we've been given a lot of shit around. I've been given a lot of shit, especially around here, because nobody around here has the balls to actually get up there and do something really super theatrical and to risk making a fool of themselves. And so, I could turn right around on them and tell them that that at least what I'm doing, I'm actually putting a little bit more effort into, and I've actually got the grapefruits to get up there and get made fun of. But as far as the balance between music and the look and the music, I always have 100% put all my attention into the quality of the music first. Mm-hmm. The quality of the music, and the songwriting, and that's way more important than a visual thing. And I see a lot of bands out there who get that wrong. They immediately get up and instead of start looking at what they can improve in their studio and looking at what they can improve gear-wise to make their music sound better, they're spending all their money on new outfits and things like that. So it can definitely go the other way.